What's good, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. Hope that everybody is having a wonderful Saturday. So, Fat Joe is now being sued for $20 million by a former hype man. And he alleges that the rapper forced him into 4,000 intimate acts, y'all. 4,000. Oh my goodness. I'm like, what in the ditty is going on? So Terrence T.A. Dixon filed a federal lawsuit months after Fat Joe sued him, alleging slander and defamation. So Fat Joe is accused of forcing his former hype man to engage in thousands of intimate acts with women in a $20 million federal lawsuit that he also alleges he was underpaid, denied songwriting credits, and threatened. Terrence T.A. Dixon. Now, y'all know the man that's suing Tyler Perry. His name is Derek Dixon. It's the day of the Dixons, ain't it? All right. Terrence Dixon filed a complaint against Fat Joe, members of his inner circle, and Rock Nation in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York on Thursday. So, listen, Jay Z just got out of, you know what I mean, that whole situation with Tony Busby in that lawsuit. Now he's about to be pulled back in to this, I guess because they see the Beyonce is on tour. And Jay Z, she got her different products she's selling, t-shirts. She's doing, all of her products, right? Jay Z also has his beverages, right, of choice that he's selling at Beyonce's concerts. So they're doing very well, both billionaires. And times is hard out here. We're in a recession, so people are like, listen, they gotta make it do what it do. Allegedly. So, an attorney for Fat Joe, whose real name is Joseph Antonio Cartanega, I hope I said that right, Cartanega, said the allegations are complete fabrications intended to damage the rapper's reputation. The lawsuit says that Dixon was the rapper's hype man or onstage entertainer, but that he also contributed as a lyricist, a background vocalist, bodyguard, and creative collaborator from about 2005 to 2022. Now, here's my question really quick, right? This was my question back when, it was a lot of people that worked for Diddy, that lived in his home with him, that was just basically saying that he didn't pay them. I'm wondering why they didn't file the lawsuit like right then and there. You know what I mean? Like, why wait all these years later? And to be honest, I haven't heard a Fat Joe record since I was a kid. Like, no shade. I'm sure the royalties are still paying, but I mean, and let me know if you guys, are big Fat Joe fans. But I haven't heard like a record from him or Ja Rule or, really anybody. I mean, shout out to Ashanti. She was just doing her thing at the BET Awards, and she just got married to Nelly, but she hasn't put out any new music. So that whole record label, M Inc. I can't say the M word, but I don't know if they're even still viable. So we'll see. Um, but yeah, he had all these, creative collaborations. It's like he should have been pulling in a lot more and had Joe run him his multiple, checks for doing all these different jobs way back then from 2005 to 2022. It alleges that Dixon wrote or co wrote dozens of songs, including Congratulations, Ice Cream, No Problems, and Blackout. Plaintiff contributed lyrics, melodies, vocal phrasings, and conceptual design to these works, substantially shaping their final form as distributed to the public, the suit says. Okay, so again, if he was doing all of this, he was doing, creative work, lyricist, work, vocal, background work. I mean, like what in the Prince? Like, and it's like, wait a minute. Like, sir, if you were doing all of this for Fat Joe, one, why didn't you have your own album out? And I mean, I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he is out here, being a lyricist, background vocalist, dancer on the side, creative collaborator, like, I mean, you should have, dropped your own music if you were doing all that instead of, working for Fat Joe. You could have had your own thing going, or at the very least, made sure that you got paid and credited for all these things. We don't work for free around here. Ain't nobody got time for that. Dixon was underpaid and denied songwriting credits, royalties, and back end compensation, and was deliberately concealed from him, according to the lawsuit. Cartanega, Fat Joe, controlled Dixon through psychological manipulation, intimidation, and persistent threats, the lawsuit says. Okay, so that might be why he wasn't compensated for all of his different jobs. That's unfortunate. The lawsuit alleges that Roc Nation either knew or should have known about the rapper's behavior but took no action. Roc Nation, which is named as a defendant, did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Friday. The 157-page document, which comes with a trigger warning at the top, also details allegations of SA. It alleges that Fat Joe routinely took women back to his hotel rooms and forced Dixon to engage in intimate acts with them, sometimes in front of members of the rapper's inner circle. According to this suit, Fat Joe frequently arranged and orchestrated these encounters, intentionally creating scenarios designed to reinforce the plaintiff's complete submission. It accuses Fat Joe of remaining in the room to watch, record, and provide explicit directions and commands. So I feel like this suit is very similar to the allegations made in the Diddy suit. Not saying, I wasn't there. I don't know if it happened or not. These are all allegations, but just, him watching, recording, and, all those things sound very similar to Cassie. Like even the amount, right? So like Derek Dixon, he superseded. Like I think Cassie got like 30 million. This guy's suing for 20 million. Derek Dixon's lawsuit with Tyler Perry, although he knows Tyler has it, is like 250 or 60 million. So that's a huge difference. But like I'm saying, like even the amount that he's suing for reminds me a lot of Cassie's lawsuit. So Dixon did not want to participate in these intimate acts, the lawsuit says, but he did so solely out of fear of immediate retaliation. During one alleged incident, Dixon refused, and Fat Joe canceled his flight home, stranding him with no money, the suit says. Dixon estimated that over 16 years, not 16 years, oh my goodness, he stayed longer than Cassie. That's ridiculous. He was coerced into more than 4,000 intimate acts to maintain his standing within the enterprise. The lawsuit also alleges that Dixon witnessed Fat Joe engaging in intimate relations with 15 and 16-year-old girls. Oh wow. That's a big allegation. That's serious right there. Okay. I mean all this is serious, but that's, like huge. Fat Joe's lawyer, Joseph Tacopina, said the lawsuit is a quote blatant act of retaliation and a desperate attempt to deflect attention from a lawsuit the rapper filed in April accusing Dixon and his attorney Tyrone Blackburn. Lord Tyrone Blackburn. He stays on people in the entertainment industry, don't he? Okay, of extortion, slander, and defamation. Fat Joe's lawsuit says that things ended amicably with Dixon in 2019 and that it was not until years later that Dixon alleged that he had been underpaid while working with the rapper. The suit also says that Fat Joe compensated Dixon handsomely for assisting him on tour, and he denies Dixon's allegations that the rapper had relations with minors. It further accuses Dixon and Blackburn of trying to extort Fat Joe for money. It says, quote, we didn't just sue a disgruntled former employee trying to revive a false claim from 15 years ago. We sued the lawyer behind it all. So he's taking the Jay-Z route and going after the lawyer. And I feel like because Tyrone Blackburn, his name has been associated with so much mess. Like if I were this man, like I will personally have somebody who was not known to be as messy or as just entrenched with entertainment legal just messiness. I don't even know another adjective to describe it. I mean, he's just always involved in some foolishness or some tomfoolery to the point where Blackburn, was almost held in contempt of court. And I'm like, this is not, my cousin Vinny. If this man really wants his money, he needs to get a lawyer that has a little bit more credibility, or that's I guess has a more reputable standing in the legal community in regards to suing people. Because, like I said, Tyrone Blackburn is always suing somebody, which I'm not knocking his hustle, but um, it's giving, when Phaedra Parks represented Bobby Brown, Blackburn doesn't necessarily always win. I can't even remember a case that he was successful in. So if I were this man, I would have gotten somebody else. But that's me. I'm not going to sue somebody from, 15 years prior. I wasn't in the entertainment industry. Won't he do it? Okay, moving on. So the allegations against Fat Joe are complete fabrications, lies intended to damage his reputation and force a settlement through public pressure. Mr. Cartanega will not be intimidated. We have taken legal action to expose this fraudulent campaign and hold everyone involved accountable. In response, Blackburn said that Friday that Fat Joe is desperate and grasping for straws. He says, we've met with law enforcement, so now let's wait and see who they believe. So they have to do the discovery process, right? So that's all going to come out in the wash in court. It says the lawsuit says that Dixon suffered severe emotional injuries, including chronic anxiety, debilitating fear, and symptoms consistent with post traumatic stress disorder. He remains in trauma informed therapy, the suit says. So that's the article from NBC News. I'll link that if you guys want to read it. Listen, I mean, on one hand, I'm glad that he, is in trauma informed therapy. I wish that, he had a better experience. I really wish that he would have felt it was, I guess, safe enough or prudent enough, to leave, because staying with somebody who's threatening you for 16 years, and again, I'm not shaming anybody because I understand when you are in that, cycle, it's difficult to break free, but 16 years is an extremely long time. And I really, truly wish that he would have, left earlier, sued earlier, but everything happens, in good time and season. So I will keep you posted. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section about this lawsuit. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Enjoy your weekend, Aces. Bye.